Welcome everyone to the ApprovalMax Year in Review product webinar, our biggest webinar of the year. We've got a lot to get through, so we'll just jump straight into it. Our agenda for today is that we'll meet our speakers first off. We'll also be running a quick poll, and your participation would be greatly appreciated. Your insights and questions help make this webinar more valuable for everyone, so please don't be shy. We also want to make this really interactive, so please ask any questions that you have in the Q&A section below, and our presenters will make sure that they answer them live for you. My name is Dee Johns, and I'm the Head of Product Marketing here at ApprovalMax, and I'm joined today by our Solutions Engineer, Alex.
Hi, thank you for having me here today, and I'm super excited. These sessions, this webinar, we're doing those every year, and each year it becomes even more in terms of people, in terms of features we're releasing. So I'm very excited to, first of all, go through things that we've done throughout this year and give you a little sneak peek of what we're going to release next year.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. We have quite a few people on the call that are thinking about becoming ApprovalMax customers. ApprovalMax is a robust AP and AR automation that puts you in control. Trusted worldwide by businesses, accountants, and bookkeepers to strengthen internal controls, all in a single platform. We run weekly product demos where Alex, one of our solution engineers, will take you through the whole of ApprovalMax. Alex is just about to put the link for those sessions in the chat for everybody. We're also thrilled to share that ApprovalMax has made Xero's top app list of 2024. We were recognised as one of the most popular apps and most recommended by advisors in both Australia and the UK. A fantastic milestone for us all. Before we jump into our updates, I just want to take a moment to reflect on the incredible milestones ApprovalMax and our amazing customers achieved this year. This incredible scale shows how ApprovalMax grows with your business, giving you the tools that remain reliable, no matter how complex your processes become. Take the 11.62 million bills processed, for instance. This means that around the world in 2024, a new bill is processed in ApprovalMax every 2.72 seconds. The value of those 11.62 million bills is pretty impressive. Because our target audience is so global, I'm going to do them in 3 currencies. In British pounds, that means that 34,369,735,302 British pounds is the value. In Australian dollars, that is 68,537,285,612 Australian dollars. And for our US audience, that is 43,846,043,783 US dollars. No matter how you look at it, the value is in the billions. Now, assuming one of those was one sheet of paper, every bill was one sheet of paper, on average, the paper saved would almost cover the distance from London to Greece. For the Aussies, Sydney to Perth, and then for the Americas, New York City to Los Angeles. That's a pretty impressive distance. What about the 2.4 million purchase orders created? That's 46,153 purchase orders raised in ApprovalMax every week. And if each purchase order, again, equaled one sheet of paper, that would be enough paper stacked 2.5 times the height of the Eiffel Tower. Now, there's only one more I'm going to go through. What about the 432 sales invoices processed? That means 1,184 sales invoices every 24 hours. We're saving 52 pine trees from being cut down, which is a small forest. These achievements are a testament to the trust that thousands of businesses place in ApprovalMax to simplify their workflow and improve financial control. But the numbers aren't the only story. Alex, you're going to take us through these.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Those are actually was very impressive numbers, but I think what even more impressive, it's all the product updates we released during 2024. It's actually been quite an incredible year. And if we'll compare year after year on what type of things we've been releasing, we'll see that 2024 was by far the biggest year so far and with the most major releases so far. So we've completely rebuilt our UI, make it much more modern, fresh for our users. So now you can really find and create all of the financial controls in just minutes. We've added a lot of additional features for your accrual reports, for journal entry approvals, duplicate bill checking, and lots of more. Though, of course, 49 updates, we won't have enough time today to go through all of them. It will just take us a couple of hours at least to go through each and every feature. So we've decided to highlight certain things and go through them and then continue with 2025. But just before we'll do that, I wanted to mention that perhaps you've heard already, just recently, ApprovalMax has raised 10 million pounds in investments. And though, of course, we would love to have a great yacht party somewhere in the Mediterranean, all of these money, these are growth investment money. So 2025 will be even bigger than 2024. We're adding and investing a lot into our development team and into our product teams to create and release even more amazing features, even more amazing products. So let's do a little highlight, a little recap, what we've done during 2024. And let's start with the first one. And that is, of course, a big elephant in the room, and that is ApprovalMax Capture. Of course, OCR is not new to the market. Actually, when I was a kid, around maybe like 28 years ago, I've already been using some OCR in a sense, because I've been using a scanner and a Fine reader to extract the data from the books. But technology made the leap forward, of course, and now in 2024, it is a completely different story. With AI, with machine learning, with very complex language models, now we're allowing, and of course, computing power, now it allows us to make it super fast and super efficient. So you, in just seconds, will be able to extract whatever data very accurately and submit it for approval. That's where ApprovalMax Capture steps into the game. This product, it's an add-on to pretty much all of our plans. So you can try it out and see how good that worked for you. Allows you to quickly extract the data from your invoices, at least for now. Later, we'll be presenting that for other request types like purchase orders or sales invoices. Allow you to extract the data either by our mobile app with a snap and go functionality. You can use our emails to just provide those email addresses to your suppliers, and they will be able to send those bills over to that mailbox. So it will be automatically extracted and sent for approval. Or you can just simply drag and drop it into the system, and then it will extract data for you. So let's dive into the actual product, into the demo. Dee, if you could stop sharing your screen, and I will share my screen. All right, I will just replace your current share. You should be able to see my screen right now. So one of the things why we actually made the ApprovalMax Capture is to have this interconnected and seamless user experience where all the data will be flowing into your mailbox or into ApprovalMax directly, and then flowing into your approval stages. So with that, within the product itself, you have multiple ways how you can submit all of your bills for extraction. If you have a number of bills, let's say you've scanned a bunch of invoices and they've been all added into one single PDF document, and of course you would like to differentiate them by different pages, just click on create new request, select which company you're going to work with. In my case, let's say it's going to be Demo Company UK, and here you'll find a bulk upload. So here you can decide if you would like to have one document per file, or it should be one document per page if you have multiple pages where you'd like to upload it here. And then just drag and drop your documents into here, and it will automatically extract the data for you. The other way, in case you just want to create a new bill and upload an invoice, just click on the plus sign, and it will take you to the bill creation form, where you will find here on the top of the screen an option to, first of all, do the file preview. And here you have two options. One, you can just simply upload an invoice and then just manually provide all of the details here. That's totally possible. But the other option is to upload that via ApprovalMax Capture. Simply select upload files, select an invoice, confirm your choice, and within 5 to 15 seconds, it will extract the data for you, including all of the line items. So now you don't need to manually type in all of your line items in case you have maybe 10 or 20 or 100 of those. It will be all done automatically by ApprovalMax. So here, as we can see now, all the data was extracted, including our supplier name, the due dates, reference numbers, and of course, all of our line items. One thing about ApprovalMax Capture that we are learning from your previous interactions. So if you've now uploaded a new invoice, let's say this one is ApprovalMax Ltd, of course, I don't have any account codes here. I don't have any tracking categories here, and I don't even have a tax codes here. If you apply these rules or these values by yourself once, submit it for approval and approve such bill, we will learn from the previous interaction. So the next time you will upload something for extraction, we will automatically apply these values here, and you won't need to waste any of your time. But even if you're doing that for the first time, or maybe you need to change certain things in bulk, you can always just select all of your items, or maybe some of them, click on Edit Selected, and just select what values you would like to apply in bulk. So let's say the tax code here should be no VAT. Click on Save. Now it's all done. All that we need to do right now is to submit it for approval. That's the second way how we can deal with ApprovalMax Capture. The third way, if you'll take a look into your approval workflows, into the bill workflow, here you will find Receive by Email. By default, once you'll create your account, once you'll connect that to Xero, we will automatically create an email address for you. Within the setup, though, you can either change that email address to something else, and you can also select which status should be applied to the bills that you've submitted for extraction. Should it be sent first to being as draft, or it should be going straight away to on review or on approval stage? That is something for you can decide within the settings itself. If you're already using some email address that you've sent to your vendors, to your suppliers, that's totally fine. You can just create a rule of auto forwarding that to the email address that we're providing over to you. So then without changing anything for your supplier, we will be automatically receiving all of these bills. We will extract them and submit for your approvals. But now there is a fourth way. It's actually been released just recently, and I cannot wait to share with you that experience. And that is the Snap and Go with our mobile app. So what I will do right now, I will share my mobile screen so you will see how it looks like in real time. Just give me a moment. Let me know if you can see my screen, my mobile screen.
Yes, Alex, we can.
Perfect. So this is my ApprovalMax app. I'll click on the plus sign, which will allow me to create a new request. Let's say I'm going to create a new bill for Demo Company UK. Now, as you can see here on the bottom of the screen, I do have an option to upload for capture. If I'll click on this one, it will open my camera. Hi, everyone. And I have an invoice here already prepared. So let's just click on capture and submit it for approval. As you can see, I've made a very bad job in photographing that. So hopefully it will allow me to extract the data even with such a bad image quality. Within some seconds, or again, 10, 15 seconds, if I'll refresh the page, this bill will already appear under captured by me. So it is now up to me if I would like to proceed with sending that for approval within the app itself, maybe changing things here, or since it's all seamless work between both browser and just give me a moment, screens and the browser version, I will find the same request here under captured by me as well. So now it is processing. In a couple of seconds, it will extract the data, and you will find the original invoice with the very bad data here and all of the line items here on the right side of the screen. Okay, that is how ApprovalMax Capture works. Now let's continue to the next feature, the next big product, another elephant in the room. Sorry for my reference. I just came back from South Africa and I've been to Kruger National Park, and all I think about right now is elephants, giraffes, zebras, and so on and so forth. So the second big product that we released during Xerocon London, something that you already might have seen, especially if you're in the UK and working with the UK-based banks, it's ApprovalMax Pay. It is an amazing way for you to pay to your suppliers directly from your ApprovalMax account. The way it works, you simply connect your bank account to your ApprovalMax organization. You match your bank account to Xero account. So now we have a three-way matching between the systems. And once the bill is being processed, once the bill is being approved, you will be able to combine that into batches, merge them into one single line if we're talking about the same supplier, and execute the payment all without going anywhere else, all within the same single platform. Why is it so important? Well, since the main idea behind ApprovalMax is to create robust financial controls, providing segregation of duties, making sure that only specific people is allowed to make specific things within the platform. Now you can create a multi-step, multi-tier process where bills first will be extracted by capture, then it will be approved by certain people who necessarily don't have access to executing the payments, but then other people will be able to create a batch out of it. Some other people will be able to approve those things, and third people will be able to execute the payments. So now, let's say if you're an accountant and you not necessarily have access to the bank account of your client, you still will be able to proceed with the work, because you can first check all the details about the bill, make sure that everything is correct. All the details are in your general ledger, in your Xero account. But the client from the client side will be able to just scan the QR code or log in via internet bank and execute the actual payment. So let's dive into demo and see how it works. In my ApprovalMax account, or in your ApprovalMax account as well, you will find there are a couple of additional options right now. The first thing here on the bottom of the screen that you will find is called the bank accounts. We work with all the major UK banks, and you will be able to connect your bank account if it supports open banking technology. Let's click on new bank account, select out of the long list of different banks. And by the way, we're constantly adding even more banks. So therefore, I'm pretty confident that you will be able to find your bank here in a list of all of these different banks. But let's say I'm going to use Wise. I already actually have an account here, but just to take you through this process from the very beginning. Click on next and it will show you the QR code, or you will be able to log in via desktop. This is the very important step. That's where you actually connect your bank account to ApprovalMax. Once it is done, you'll find the list of your banks here. You can add as many banks as you want, no limitations on that. You will need to match your bank account here with what you have in Xero. So click on rematch or just match, and it will show you what bank accounts you have in your Xero file. That is a very important step, because once the bill or once the batch is approved, we're automatically sending that into Xero. And once Xero will bring the bank feed, you will be able to then reconcile the transaction. Once it is done, the next process, I think, is even more important, and that is where we keep and create our payment details. One of the major things behind ApprovalMax that we always want to make sure that each and every transaction is fully auditable and super secure. So the contact details that we keep in ApprovalMax, that is another way how you keep control of some potential fraudulent activities. Because every time you're creating a new payment detail for your supplier, we keep track about who was the first person to create a contact detail, a payment detail. If any changes occurred, we will know exactly who made the change, what change were made, and when it was done. So you have full understanding of what is going on. And on top of that, for those of us who will be later making approval decisions and executing the payments, we're providing you with a traffic light system showing you if it's been the first payment that you're doing to that supplier, it will show you as a yellow flag, meaning that it's the first time. So just please be extra cautious. Maybe compare what you have on an actual invoice against what you have on the payment details. If you've paid to that supplier before and the payment details hasn't been changed, therefore it will show you the green flag. And now you can, with ease of mind, proceed with the execution of payment. You know exactly that the payment details are all the same. And if it's showing you the red flag, it means that someone has changed payment details, someone who has access to make those changes. We will highlight what changes were made and who exactly made those changes. So now you can take a look, like maybe a bit deeper look, just to understand if everything looks fine to you. And of course, you can keep control over who should have access to see the payment details, who should have access to add those payment details, and who should have access to edit those payment details. Under the user section, you will find extra permissions. where you can set that certain people can view the list, add new payment details, or edit payment details. And the main part happens actually within the approval workflow. So you will find the batch payment workflow here, and that is exactly where ApprovalMax Pay is actually lays within the platform itself. The layout here is exactly the same as you've seen before for any other transactions. That's the beauty of ApprovalMax. It's the seamless experience across the board. It doesn't matter if we're talking about purchase orders or build approvals or sales invoice approvals or batch payment approvals. We have people who is allowed to create these batches out of the bills that were approved. You can limit them based on the bank account or maybe based on the supplier, what exactly they allow to create. Once the batch is created, it is automatically sent to your approval stages. Just like with any other workflow, you can build a multi-step, multi-tiered process, allowing certain people to approve maybe smaller amounts, senior managers to approve higher amounts, whatever you would like to have in your workflow, you will be able to build it here. But the last stage is, I think, it's the most important one. That's where you're actually executing the payments. So that will be a client who have access to the internet bank or mobile bank. That will be the person who will actually click on the button authorize, and that's when the money will be sent from your bank account to your supplier bank account. That is ApprovalMax Pay. Let me quickly show you how would it look like if I'll try to create a new batch payment. So once you click on plus sign, by the way, you can just simply go into any bill that you already approved. And if you have a right to create a batch, you will find there is a button Pay with ApprovalMax. So it will already automatically create that batch. But if you're doing that from the very beginning, select which bank account you would like to use. In my case, YSGBP. Click on Add Bills and select the number of bills that you would like to include into your batch. Let's say I'll just simply use this one I have on the bottom of the screen. Here you'll find details about how much money you would like to pay. You cannot pay more than you have on amount due, but you can pay, of course, less than that. Let's say half of the price that you have on amount due. Later, once you'll add that bill once again, it will show you only the remaining balance. You won't be able to pay more. The next thing is the payment details. Something that I've shown you previously within the contact details tab in our main menu. If you click on the information icon, it will show you all the details about these payment details. Sort code, currency, account number, who created the request, who created the payment details, who made any changes to those requests. You can provide a reference number. And of course, if you would like to compare one thing to another, you can easily take a look on the original invoice and see if everything looks fine to you. If you have more than one bill from the same supplier, you will be able to easily merge them into the one line item so you can just execute it in just one single go. It makes it super easy for you to process number of bills. Once it's all done, you're just submitting that for approval. And at that stage, it goes to the approval stages that we've built in the batch payment workflow. And something that I've mentioned previously with the traffic light system, now, as you can see, it shows me a red flag, meaning that someone has changed the payment details to that supplier. So now it is for me to decide what I would like to do with the request, if I would like to proceed, if I would like to compare one thing to another, if everything looks fine to me, and if everything looks good, I can just click on approve. And now it goes to the latest approval stage where I'm now the payment executioner. Now I have this button, Pay with ApprovalMax, which will allow me to make the actual payment. So what I will do, I will scan the QR code, and I'm not sure if you can see that right now from my mobile screen. It takes me to my bank account. All I need to do right now is to click on authorize the payment. All right, once it's authorized, it will automatically refresh the page in my ApprovalMax account. As you can see right now, it's updating the status. So payment is confirmed. Now I'm just waiting for my bank to send the money to my supplier. And once it will be done, we will automatically refresh the status of that request here in your ApprovalMax organization. So at the moment, I have a payment status processing in around 15-20 seconds, depending on the bank. It will change either to successful or failed, and I will see that here within ApprovalMax. At the same time, while it's all still processing, this batch will go into my zero file. So later, I will be able to just simply open my request, reconcile that once the bank feed will be sent into zero, and the job is done, all in one single platform. Okay, let's move on to the next feature. I've actually already made a little sneak peek, but anyway, it is something for those of you who are here working with NetSuite and with QBO. Of course, by looking at the numbers previously that Dee has shown you, have mentioned, you've noticed that bills approvals are by far the largest chunk of things that we're processing here in ApprovalMax. But at the same time, a lot of our customers, they're processing not only AP side of the things, but also AR. And a lot of our QBO customers, a lot of our NetSuite customers were asking for workflow to process their sales invoices. And now it's finally here. You can already give it a try. You can already create those sales invoices all within ApprovalMax, submit them and send them to your customers once it is fully approved. And once it's all done, you will find them in your QBO or NetSuite connected companies. So how would it look? Well, it's actually quite easy because it's quite the same as you've seen before for any other transaction types. Just like I've mentioned, all the layout, all the user interface is quite the same to have this seamless and internet experience for our users. So now for our My QuickBooks Online account, same with NetSuite, you will find account receivable workflow, sales invoice workflow. The layout here is quite the same. We are allowing your users to create these sales invoices. Let's say if we're talking about the sales team, simply add a list of your requesters and limit them based on the invoice customer, based on the product and services that you're doing to your customers, maybe by the tax rate. You can also allow your users to create new customers directly from ApprovalMax. That's up to you if you would like to work with existing customers or if you would like an ability for them to create new ones. Then it goes through your approval stages. Just like with any other workflow, you have any number of approval stages, any number of users, and any number of rules that you can apply for your users. In my particular case, I have 2 approval stages. One is for managers, where each and every manager will be approving based on the specific customer. And I do have a CFO and COO step, where people are approving if the amount is more than 10,000 pounds. So once the workflow is created, don't forget to update that or activate the workflow. And now you will be able to create new sales invoices. Once you click on the plus sign, it will take it to the sales invoice creation form based on your customers in QBO or in NetSuite. Let's say I'm going to create a sales invoice for Unlimited Money Limited. Provide the details about the invoice number in case you don't want to do that, or if you just want to automatically apply numbers in sequence that you have in QBO, just leave it blank. That's totally fine. Provide details about the line items. Let's say services, and let's say advisory services. And let's say it's going to be for 1,000 pounds with no tax and for our R&D class. Of course, you can provide an invoice, and you can also tick the box here on the bottom of the screen. So once this sales invoice will be approved, it will be automatically sent to your customer. Once it's all done, submit it for approval. And at that stage, just like with the bills or with the purchase orders, it will go through the approval cycle before it hits your general ledger, before it goes to your customers. That's how the sales invoice works for our QBO and NetSuite integrations. Next feature. The next one, it's the huge one. It's actually been a #1, the most anticipated features ever. If you are familiar with ApprovalMax, if you click on your avatar, you will find there is a customer feedback form where you can submit all of your ideas, and if people will upvote them, our product team will, of course, take that into consideration. And in many cases, such requests will be then developed and released for our audience. That's exactly what happened with the review step, some other features that I will be talking a bit later with our Slack integration, and so on and so forth. So what is the review step? Currently, it's only available for Xero and QBO. It is coming for NetSuite, hopefully very, very soon. And the review step, it's actually not a very new thing for ApprovalMax. It's been with us for ages. However, we've fully redesigned the whole thing, making it much more flexible and much more easier to use. So now, rather than having your reviewers under the first approval stage, you have it as a separate approval stage. And your reviewers we'll be able to change not only things like the tracking category, not only things like account codes, but whatever they needed to change. If they need to add additional attachments, they will be able to do so. If they need to change line items, they will be able to do so. So pretty much reviewers have a full power of changing things on the fly. So you now won't need to have this ping pong game between the requesters, accountants, and people who is approving things. And if you'll take a look on the face of this guy here on the screen, you'll see how happy it is, because he now don't need to waste his time changing things that he don't know, have no idea about, like account codes. So now he can just focus on his work. So how the review step is working. In your workflows for both QBO or for Zero, if you'll open the purchase order workflow or the bill workflow, some other requests, if you'll click on this plus sign at the very beginning of the process, you'll find there is two additional links. One is an add auto approval stage. So in case you have recurring bills, things that you're going to pay anyway, and there is no need for your approvals, you can just create a rule that such things will be automatically approved and then sent into QBO or Zero. But the second one, it's the review step. You can add as many reviewers as needed here. For the sake of our example, I'll just add myself. And within the reviewer matrix, you can decide what exactly your reviewers are allowed to review, what exactly they're allowed to change before it goes to the actual approvers. So let me give you an example here. I've added myself as the reviewer. We have people who is allowed to submit their bills via ApprovalMax capture, or we provided an email address to our vendors, so it will be automatically extracted. We received the bill, it was extracted, but we've noticed a mistake maybe with the tax code. Previously, what should be done, we would be probably rejecting such bills, writing an email or writing a comment to our requesters. Hey, please go ahead and change the account code, maybe change the tax rate to this one. They will do something wrong. They will submit it for approval once again. You will have these multiple communication back and forth trying to figure out what exactly is needed. Now you don't need to do that. Once the bill is extracted, it can automatically go to the review step, and you can quickly take a look on the request, change things that needed to be changed, and push it forward for approval. To make things even easier, here on the top of the screen, including all other things that you already have, you have an option to review it by me. So let me just select maybe demo company UK. So it requires my review. That is one single link where you can find everything that is required your review. So rather than going through and scrolling through different requests that you have, just click on requires my review and it will straight away show you things that actually needed to be reviewed and changed. So I have this bill from ApprovalMax Ltd. If I'll click on edit, it'll open the full request for me. And let's say I would like to change my account code from being subscriptions to, let's say, general expenses. Again, I will just select all, select account code, general expense, click on save, resubmit it for approval. I can provide a comment, account code is changed. And now it goes back again to the review step in case I would like maybe to make some additional changes. But if I'm happy with what I'm seeing already, if I'm happy to push it forward to my actual approvers, click on submit for approval. Now the job is done. Great way for you to keep control of such things. And actually, later we'll be talking about a bit more. But for all such things, because you might be asking, but what if requester submitted one thing? Maybe he requested the purchase order for this amount, but now my accountant has changed that and we have no idea about what was at the beginning. I would like to assure you that is not the case, because everything that we're doing here in ApprovalMax is fully auditable. So we keep track of each and every step of the process. And later I will show you how to do so. While we were discussing the review step, let's move on to the next one. It's another actually addition to the review step. It's another great way for you to have single way, an easy way to make changes on the fly, especially if we're talking maybe some senior person in the team who need just to make a final change before it goes to zero. And that is editing on approval. It's by far like the second most anticipated feature. Editing on approval, it's just like the review step, but rather than having that at the very beginning of the process, you might want to give access to certain users to change things whenever they want. As an example, we might have a very complex 5-10 step approval process. At the very end of the process, we have our CFO who is approving all the large deals. He knows exactly what is going on. He's the most senior person in the company. So he might want to change things like a due date, or he might want to change the tax code, or something that he might want to change. With the editing on approval, rather than the CFO will be sending an email back to the reviewer or sending the email back to the requester, he will be able to change things by himself. And that is up to you, for the person who is creating the workflow, to decide who should have such flexibility, who should have such feature in place. So within the product, in the workflow itself, doesn't matter if we're talking about the bill workflow, purchase order workflow, it's also available for our sales invoices, quotes, and also you can edit your batches. Just recently we released a new thing, so now we can remove certain line items from the batch. Within your workflow, if you'll click on the table icon, which will take you to the approval matrix, now you will find editing permission here at the very beginning of the process. So this is my step for the CEO and CFO making their approvals. I want to make sure that Tim, as our CFO, is allowed to make changes to maybe supplier name, maybe to the reference number. Maybe he's also allowed to change the account code, and he can also make some additional attachments. So I can do all of those things here within the requester matrix, within the editing matrix. And now Tim, without sending anything back to the reviewers, to the requesters, will be able to change those things. That is editing on approval, an amazing feature that allows our senior people who need to make changes to the request, to do that quickly. The next thing, something that I've already started talking about auditability of the process. Because you might have very complex approval process. You can build smart multi-step, multi-tiered workflows, but it all won't make much sense if there is no auditability behind that. If you have no idea who made the change to your workflows, if you have no idea who made changes to your requests, if you have no idea who approved it and why they did so. And that is why ApprovalMax always constantly releasing additional tools to have visibility of each and every stage of the process. And this new feature called request version history, currently available for Xero and QBO, doing exactly that. It allows you to keep track on all the changes per request. So remember previously when I had my request that I reviewed, then I push it forward for approval, then I send it back for review once again. Let's say I will open require all my requests, discard changes. And for each and every request now, you will find there's a little clock icon. That's the version history. If you click on this one, it will show you the list of all the versions that you had for that request. You can always take a step back and see what the request looked like at the very beginning. Then you can take a look on the changes that were made, who made those changes, and you can see if there was any comments about that. So you can always keep track on such request version histories. That is just one single thing about it, just about the actual request. Same goes for your workflows itself. So if you have lots of administrators within the account, if there are a lot of them making some changes to this request, you always want to know if they're still doing that according to the internal policies. So that's why for each and every workflow, again, you will find the same icon, which shows you the workflow version history. You know exactly who created the workflow at first, the way it looks like, who made the change, and you can see what changes were made. So we keep control over such things as well, not only on the request type, but also on the workflow type side. Okay, let's continue. I see that we're running out of time, I guess. No, or are we still good?
Yes, we're running a little bit short on time, Alex, but you're doing a great job. Thank you.
I'll go quicker now, but though this one feature might be one of the greatest ones, especially for those of you who are here using QuickBooks Online, because that's one of our major releases, being asked so many times, and finally it is here. It is under beta at the moment. So if you want to give it a try, feel free to reach out to your customer success manager or to our support team. They'll be more than happy to enable budget checking feature for you so you can try it out by yourself. This budget checking feature automatically, once you'll agree to pull the data from your QBO, will automatically pull all of your budgets from QBO. And it doesn't matter if you build your budgets based on the location, or classes, or projects, all of those things are supported. You can pull them into your ApprovalMax account. And now whenever you're raising a purchase order, whenever you're approving a bill, or creating and approving expense reports, you will find details about the budgets, and you can see if you're about to overspend, if you're still within the limits. These details are now provided over to you. So how does it work? In your QBO account, if you're familiar with QBO, you'll of course know that there is a budget here. I've already created the budget in my own account, so I've made it based on the classes, but you can do that based on the location, or maybe you can do that based on the project. That purely depends on what you would like to see in your report. Let's say based on the customer for unlimited money limited, I would like to create a budget where all the purchases, it's going to be a 100K. So I'll just save it. And I will take a step back into my ApprovalMax account. So in my QBO organization, in your main left-hand side menu, you will now find a budget check-in feature. At the moment, it shows me the budget that I've previously created. But if I would like to bring maybe any new budget that I already have, just click on Sync Now. And in a couple of seconds, it will bring the budget that we have now just created. It allows you to select how much into the future you would like to show the details to your requesters or to your approvers. Maybe you would like just to show them 1 month, half a financial year, up to you. And what should be done with the zero values? So if you made a budget just for one single account code, but everything else is blank, would you like to show these zero numbers, or would you like to hide them? You can do that within the settings in your account. And for users, the way it will look like, once something is submitted for approval, I think I do have this one bill here. Once something is submitted for approval, in my case, I have this bill 001 from ApprovalMax Ltd. It is for the class R&D, and one of my budgets is that specifically for that class. Here on the bottom of the screen, you will find a budget check table. It shows you the budget name, shows you which class it belongs to, which category code it belongs to, what is the budget period, and what is your remaining budget and how much money you're about to approve. So then you can see that the status is within the budget, everything is fine. If you want to dig into the numbers a bit more, you can always click on the budget itself and it will show you a much greater picture. It shows you the overall picture in terms of the budget, how much you have, like the remaining balance, how much money you've spent on the bills, on purchase orders or expenses, or how many of these requests are still on approval or on review. So I have a full picture of what is going on, including a month-by-month expenditure looking. So budget checking, great new feature. I'm super excited to finally release that because it's been quite a long time, and I cannot wait for you to give it a try and provide us with the feedback. Continue. The next thing, it's a passkey authentication. It's a bit of a maybe a smaller one, but I think it's a very important one because though security is the #1 priority for ApprovalMax, sometimes it gets a bit of a ridiculous thing. You all know, maybe you already seen some of the platforms when you're trying to log into the platform, they're first asking you for the password, then asking you for the 2FA, you need to provide a code. Then they're calling you and asking what was the name of your cat, your first cat, and you're trying to say it's Mr. Pumpkins, but they're asking for another name. So it's getting ridiculous trying to get inside of your platform. So the passkey authentication is a great alternative to 2FA. It's using much more secure protocols in terms of how, well, let's say if you're using Face ID or using Touch ID or something like that, it just allows you to quickly log into your account in a most secure way. So the way it works, it's very simple. In the platform itself, you can click on your avatar and go into my profile. And here on the bottom of the screen, you will find security things. So log you out after 15 minutes of inactivity, 2-factor authentication, and now the passkey and security keys. Click on setup, create a passkey, let's say a new passkey. Click on save. And now if you're using, let's say Mac, like in my case, you can just use the Touch ID. Done. That's the whole thing. Now, next time you're logging into your account, you're just pushing your finger. It allows you to get in without, providing 2FAs. You don't need to use Google Authenticator or anything like that. It is a great way and much quicker, much more secure way to log into your account. So feel free to use passkey authentication. Next thing, I think we're coming to the end of 2024 highlights, and I'm super happy that we're going in 2025. I cannot wait to share some of the things that we're going to release very, very soon. But this next feature, it is also a very interesting one. So that previous feature was all about the security. Some other features were all about the financial controls and making sure that everything is auditable, that you're making your approvals on time. This one is all about the communication and the convenience of using ApprovalMax. What you're mentioning, rather than you be sending emails or asking someone via Slack or Teams to take a look on the request, and you need to send a link to them or things like that, so it becomes quite a tedious process. What you're mentioning, allowing you to have an in-app communication between your team members, allowing them to see what is going on within the request that you want them to see, without having actual ability to approve or change things. So now, all in one single platform, you can simply select or mention someone from the team who need to have a visibility over the process that you're having here. Just simply use the add symbol. It will show you the list of all the active users in the system. Let's say in my case, Alex Gesselman. Provide a comment. Let's say, please take a look. And if the person is not on the approval stage, if it's just sitting somewhere in the user section, you will be prompted if you would like to add them as the watcher. And that means that they will have visibility over the request. They will be able to see all the line items. They will be able to see the budgets. They will be able to see what is going on here, who is approving things, what's in the communication. But at the same time, they won't be able to approve it. They will be able just to see, communicate back, and have one single place where everyone know what exactly is going on. So that's mentions and watchers. Great feature, and a lot of our customers using that a lot. You can do that via mobile. You can use it here in the browser. Amazing way for you to communicate all in one single platform.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex. We've actually got our poll coming up now. So I'm going to start the poll because we're a little bit short on time. So let me just launch that. Which features released in 2024 have been the most helpful for your workflow? So I'll just give everybody a couple of minutes just to answer this poll. Oh, we're all coming in
by
red
far
and
going
hot.
crazy.
Very much so. Watches and mentions is getting some action as well. Seems to be a bit of a tie between capture, review step, and editing on approval. Brilliant. Lovely, thank you. I'm just going to share the results now. So what we can see is 25% for capture, 20% for a review step, and 27% for editing on approval. Thank you very much, everyone. Alex, over to you again.
Perfect.
For 2024.
So now some even more exciting parts. It's always great to talk about what's going to be next for ApprovalMax, and having these investment money and having more money to and like more time and more projects that we can work on. I cannot wait to show you what's going to be next. And of course, these are just a few things that we're going to work in 2025, because there's lots of more. And this first one is huge. I cannot remember a demo that I've conducted where people wasn't asking me about the expense approvals for Xero. Maybe a little history here, a little history lesson. Some time ago, we are been supporting Xero expenses, no problem at all with that. But then they've deprecated the API and they've released Xero expenses. Unfortunately, they've never exposed any API for us, the developers. Therefore, we couldn't be really working with that. And we had some workarounds for these expense reports. You will be processing them as bills. But now we want to change things. We now want to provide you with an extra special workflow just for your expenses. So you will be able to process the receipts. You will be able to process the ATM slips, mileage, and of course, the main part, of course, is the expense reports. So hopefully that will be available within Q1, Q2. I haven't seen the way it works just yet, but I will be able to show you how would it look like on the QPO integration. So it's pretty much exactly the same thing with some minor differences. Overall, if you're processing your expense reports or you're processing any receipts, you will find an additional expense workflow where you can add all of your employees, those who will be submitting those expense reports into the system, and then create a multi-step workflow based on all of the different rules, based on the amount, based on specific values or specific account codes where all of these requests or all of these receipts or ATM slips should be going to. And once it will be processed, the major difference here between the bill workflow would be that you can decide where these requests should be appearing in your Xero file. Should it be just as a bill approved, or should it be as a spend money transaction? That is something for you to decide. And in complementary to this expense approval workflow, of course, the next thing would be, and that would be absolutely logically to have one in your list, would be an ApprovalMax capture for expenses. Again, if you have a receipt from a restaurant, if you have a dinner with maybe with a business partner, if you have a hotel slip or something like that, just drag and drop a receipt, snap a photo with a mobile phone straight on the hotel desk room, push it forward, it will be automatically sent for approval. Or if its money was already spent, then once it is approved, it will appear in your GL as a spent money transaction. It's a great way for you to handle now all of your expenses, including merging all of these receipts into one single expense report and submitting that for approval. And that's how would it look like, but overall ApprovalMax capture will look exactly the same as I've shown you before. The next thing is customizable mandatory fields. It's actually been asked so many times by a lot of our customers, because as you know, a lot of fields in Xero or in QBO, they are absolutely optional. Let's say like a delivery address, maybe, or who should be involved, maybe like a location, things like that. And customers were asking, maybe you on your side can make those fields being mandatory, because we really require our employees to provide details about where it should be sent to, the delivery address. Now we're doing that for both our Xero and QBO integrations. It is already available for our NetSuite customers. So the way it will look like, I will show you on my NetSuite company. You'll find there is an additional fields option, or within the workflow itself, you will find there is a little, I'm not even sure what this icon means, like a little tube. So you can update the fields value here. If it's been billing address or reference number that is still editable, you can select it being mandatory. So now your customers, your employees, or whoever creating those bills, or whoever creating those purchase orders will be able to, well, will need to provide that details. And you can provide those details for each and every field of the process. Okay. I'm rushing through what we're doing because I see that we're running out of time. The next one is, again, another feature a lot of our customers were asking, that is the recurring requests. So sometimes you're raising the same purchase orders over and over again. And though we had a workaround for that you can just create a draft and then just change certain things and submit it for approval, but it still requires some manual work. You still need to go to the draft. You still need to, at some specific time, still need to change certain things and then submit it for approval. With these recurring requests, you will be able to set the schedule once a month, once a week, once whatever. And with flexible timing, you will be able to just create those requests automatically, submit them for approval without you even touching the thing. So another great way to automate the process even better. Screen that how it might look like. Editing on approval, I won't be spending too much time on this one because we already discussed this one, but it's just that it's coming for QBO and NetSuite. Currently, editing on approval is only available for Xero, but very, very soon it will be available for our QBO and for our NetSuite customers. Let's move on, and because we have two more things that are just a blast. It's actually a game changer. For NetSuite, it's a bill-to-PO matching. Quickly, everyone knows who is working with Xero and QuickBooks Online. You can do the bill-to-PO matching. You can mark off specific things that you already received. It is coming now for NetSuite. For those of you who are working with NetSuite, that's a big thing because that was one of the most anticipated features, mostly requested features so far. So now it's coming for NetSuite. Very, very soon it will be available. Same actually with the purchase order receiving. So we have a GRN for both Xero and for our QuickBooks Online accounts. With the NetSuite, it is now missing, but it's coming very, very soon. So you now will be able to mark off specific things that you already received, making sure that everything is aligned, what you've committed to spend against the actual spend. Now, coming to the big part, the wallets. That is all about ApprovalMax Pay. Because as you know, right now we're working using open banking technology, and it's a great way because you can seamlessly connect your bank account and you can make all of your payments straight away. It takes you just a couple of seconds to do so. But there are some limitations. And we would like to allow you to have the most flexible system possible. And wallets within ApprovalMax allows you to do exactly that. Basically, you'll have a named bank account where once you'll open this one, you'll have 36 wallets in different currencies, and you will be able to collect, hold, and make payments to your suppliers. So the ideal motto here is operate locally and pay globally. So once you'll deposit money from a bank account into your wallet, into ApprovalMax, now whenever you need to make a payment, doesn't matter if it's in British pounds or Canadian dollars or USD dollars, you will be able to do so straight from one single platform. With that, you won't need to think about that merging. You would like to merge bills from just the same supplier. You will be able to merge bills from a variety of different suppliers. You can make scheduled payments. You can make international payments. So it's pretty much limitless capabilities in terms of how you can keep your money and how you can make payments to your suppliers. And later we'll be adding a functionality for collecting money from your customers. So it's pretty much takes the full picture of how we're going to make a payouts and pay-ins. So the way it will look like, in your account, you'll have different wallets where you can deposit money. So here on the screen, you can see all the details that are provided. And on the next step for the transactions, you can keep track of all the bank feed that you had, where the money goes, where the money received. All of those things will be available within one single platform. And with that, of course, it comes to the international payments. So far, we've been working only on the UK market, only for the domestic payments. Now we're adding the global payments. So if you're a UK business at the moment, later we'll be adding that for our Australian and New Zealand businesses, and later for other markets as well. Right now, you will be able to make this cross-border payment processing for more than 800 plus countries, having these 36 different currencies, all in one single place. So same day transfers, great way for to have not only domestic but also international payments. So the way it will look like, again, very soon, hopefully it will be available for the testing and you will be able to give it a try. Firstly for the UK businesses, later for other businesses and other companies as well. Pay in bulk. I'm trying to, I see that we are running out of time, right? I'm trying to do it super quick. So the pay in bulk. Right now, again, of course, you can create all of the batches, but you had some bank restrictions. Not every bank allows you to merge all of these bills into one single bank, into one single batch. Some limitations of the open banking. Wallets, where you will be depositing and holding money within your ApprovalMax account, simply takes off all of these restrictions. Now you will be able to make all of your payments in bulk. You will be able to pay multiple invoices from different suppliers, automatic reconciliation, automatic invoice matching. We're adding automatic sending of the remittance advices. All of those things will be now held all within ApprovalMax itself. So now it just makes it easier, a single platform for everything that happens for the payments and everything that you need to do in terms of collecting money and paying the money. Okay, I think we are at the end and I made it right on time, exactly on clock.
You did, Alex. That's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today and for being part of our journey this year. Here's to a successful year ahead, wishing you a joyful holiday season and a fantastic start to the new year. Please don't forget that if you're new to ApprovalMax, join our weekly product demos where Alex will insert the link for you in our chat and he will walk you through everything to do with ApprovalMax. Just remember that this recording will also be sent out to everybody that's attended today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. And I hope to see you in the next year with all these great releases. Have a lovely holidays ahead.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
See you later.
Bye.